guess I'll start from, when I was a kid, growing up, like, I was kind of always one of those kids that was like, pushed aside from, everyone. No one really wanted me around or anything. And, that makes you angry, and eventually that anger turned to, drugs and violence, done everything under the sun, you know what I mean? With that too, like, I also started to develop like a weird obsession with crime and the idea of power. And I used to dwell on things like that all the time. Sometimes it would even be as much as like hurting people. You know what I mean? I would dwell on things like that. I started to look for ways to find that power. And one of the ways that I thought would help me get it was I got involved in that new age mysticism kind of stuff. I think when I was 19, I was fed up with, never actually achieving that place of status or that place of wealth or whatever. So I ended up reaching out to a group of questionable people. Some of them had like pentagrams tattooed on their arms, and they told me things like, when you become one of us, some people never mention that they become one of us. And when I told them what I wanted to go to school for, they were like, oh, you don't need to go to school for that. And, just things like that. I wanted to still obtain a higher, form of strength or power or whatever. And I got the idea in my head to start practicing witchcraft. So I bought a book on spells and, it started out with just lighting candles and staring at the candles. And it developed into, making a pentagram out of candles on the floor and sitting in the pentagram and, meditating, and it even progressed to me trying to cast a spell on somebody. And, when I did that, there's like this feeling in my heart. Like I instantly knew that I did something terrible. And I don't know why, but like, I remember having like a little fight in my head that night. I was just battling with the idea, like, am I becoming a Satanist? And like, just like, there was like this gravity of how bad it was in my heart, but at the same time, like, it was weird. There was like a battle going on in between me. Like I wanted to, because the witchcraft would make me feel strong, like really, really strong for some reason. And at the same time, though, I knew it was wrong. But I spent months, doing stuff like that, and there were some really strange experiences that happened. A voice started talking to me, and it was claiming to be God, and it was messing with me. It messed with me all night. I was sitting in my bed meditating, and then it was like, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was like, I'm God, and I want you to stop meditating and go to sleep now. And I was like, okay. So I did that, and then it was like, you know what, get back up and meditate. And I was like, okay. And then it kind of did that to me the whole night, where it would just maybe, go back and forth. And, for a good little while there, like I really did believe it was God, and, I was, afraid of it and confused, and, but eventually I started to catch on that there was no way that was God, and I started reading my Bible a little bit, and then the demeanor of the voices changed. I went from trying to get me to do all these silly things to, you're going to hell, and there's no way that that God will save you. It would bring up those people that I was spending time with, those questionable characters, and they were like, if you don't denounce God, they're going to come to your house and they're going to kill you. And then, it just kept getting worse and worse. It got to the point where I started to question my own, like, existence, like psychological things, where people get stuck in their minds and then their bodies are kind of like passed out or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you're living through your mind, you know what I mean? It had me believing that I was doing something like that, and then there was a demon out in the world controlling my body. And the craziest thing was, like, it used to mimic, like, and I mean audible voices. It would sound like people were being like burned alive and tortured, and I would just hear all this all the time. And I went through that like cycle of madness for a long time, just constantly with the torment and like some hallucinations and stuff. So like as I was going through all that, like I remember like I would go out places and stuff, and like everywhere I would go, like there would be somebody, and they would hand me like a track or something about Jesus or something, and and just slowly from there, like I just started spending time in God's Word.